It's 2026 and we are sitting in a world of soulless content, AI algorithms, and AI stuff that is just everywhere. How do you differentiate yourself from everybody else? Hi, I'm Clint Griffin, and today, over the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk about you and your personal brand. What does that mean? Personal brand is really what you stand for, the things that make you you, because there is only one of you in the world. And I know that sounds a bit twee, but the truth is, without your personal brand, in this world, it's very hard to differentiate yourself from others that do the same things that you do. It's your personality, it's your goals, it's your dreams, it's the way you do things that makes you different. And if you have a big company, it's the ethos behind that company, the way people work and how you do things. So in that space, when you're getting into what your personal brand's about, we're going to look at a thing called the Uncanny Valley. And the Uncanny Valley is the place where your ideas and things that you talk about come through, rather than the kind of AI slop that we're getting very used to and are very bored by in 2026. Now, AI is great, and what that'll give you, it'll give you information, lots of information based on things that have happened before. What you give to the world is your opinion, and your opinion can be whatever you choose it to be. How you do something, your idea around how something else should work, how things that work for you should be in the world, and how you go about doing things, how you solve problems, and there's 1,000 ways to solve the same problem. All I want to do is I want to work with someone who wants to solve problems in a way that I get, not someone who's got different ethics and different morals and different ways of working to me. And that is the Uncanny Valley that AI cannot do. The other thing that you've got in your personal brand is you're just a person, and I'm just a person. There's rough edges to us. Highly cultivated, finished content. Yeah, it's cool and it's slick and it's great, and you can use those in presentations, but that doesn't give the essence of who you are. And you really want to talk about you as opposed to these other things that are highly polished and highly finished, because that's not working. And you'll notice that the content that works, and this is about building up people in your wheelhouse and in your world that will work with you, are really drawn to content that isn't polished, that isn't finished. It's got to be cool, but it doesn't have to be high-end production. We're not making television cinema here, right? We're just talking brand stories. We're talking about you, and we're talking about how you behave in the world. I don't edit my videos because there's a natural flow to the way that I do things. And that becomes the face of your business. It's not the services you offer. It's nothing like that. It's how you go about the things that you go about. How do you do it? What makes you different from someone else? Now, there are lots of people that do what I do with different backgrounds. Some of them have come from a financial perspective, from a business side of it. I've come from a creative side, and therefore we solve problems in different ways, and different people will want those different approaches. I like working hands-on with people. I'll sit down, I plot things out, and we co-create. There is a formula, there's a way of doing things. That's my secret sauce, which I'll share in further episodes. But the way that I do it is very personal. It's about you. And other people will have a system that is tried and tested, and they cookie cutter it. And that's perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. They will bring their acumen in other places where I bring mine in the creative space. And that's how we learn to be different. And that's how we engage in the world in a way with people that get us. As Seth Godin says, people like us do things like this. If people aren't doing the things that you like and the way that you do it, you're probably not going to feel comfortable working with them. So don't. There's lots of people you can work with the ones that work for you. So as I said, with AI and content creation that's happening, AI is the rear view mirror of the world. It's all the things that have ever happened. It is fantastic. I use the tools every day, multiple versions of them, but it's not going to give you something new. And it's not going to give you your take on things, okay? You can build up an engine, you can have all the stuff that you talk about and write things in a way that is similar to you, but you're never going to get the new insight. You're never going to get the innovation, and it's not going to be creative, because that's what you bring to the table. And it doesn't matter what you do, there's always a creative way that you express that an AI will not. It'll take the best case studies and the best scenarios, and it will work towards mitigating risk. So the answers are okay, and we end up with this content that is bland, it's not memorable, and it doesn't really help us solve new problems, because all the old problems have been solved. There's a way to do them. We can use the internet to find that stuff out. We can use the AI tools. But when there's a new problem, a new challenge, sure, there's research. Things have happened before. But what's your unique way of doing it? How do we make sure that people understand your solution that works for them? And that is where the AI doesn't work. And the other thing that you bring in your personal brand is where you live, how you speak, how you dress, how you talk, your facial expressions. It's the thing about you that is you. There's slang from different countries. There's vernacular. There's words we pop in that kind of spread it. There's the way we put emphasis on certain words and phrases that makes us acclimatized and in tune with the environment in which we live. And that gives you more of an insight. There's one particular AI voice. It's a male voice, I suppose. It sounds like a male voice. And they do all the football games. My son watches these things all the time, little football anecdotes. It is so annoying because that dude is everywhere. And there's nothing real about it. And I know it's this kind of Americanized version of some kind of generic voice. It is unbelievably annoying, and you've probably heard it. So don't do that, because it's not you. It's also from a particular place in the States. It's one particular accent with this AI filter over the top of it. And it's not going to tell anyone anything that tells them why they should work with you as opposed to anybody else. So don't do that. And you need to be honest. And sometimes you can't solve problems, and sometimes you can, and sometimes you go, hey, I made a mistake there. I need to tell you about this. And when you polish things, and when you make it AI driven, and when you start using high-end setups, you miss that vulnerability, you miss that honesty about, it's just me in front of a camera talking to you and making sure that you kind of get my message. I'm not saying, hey guys, it's so great to see you, because I am not seeing you. You're on the other end of a camera. You could be 6 months from now. So it's a recorded piece, and that's different. Okay, if you're doing a live cross, that's different. If you're doing a seminar or a webinar, you've got a different way of dealing with it. But your content, the slang you use, the phrases, the terminology, the way you stand, the way you sit, the loudness of your voice, all shows where you come from. South Africa, very loud, very vibrant, very kind of over the top. New Zealand's very soft and very quiet. Even the cars don't make any noise. And it's a very different way of engaging. And if you try the one in the wrong place, it doesn't work, because there's a mismatch of kind of values, ideas, and the way that we kind of just connect. Culture is important, and you lose that when you start AIing your personal brand. So don't do that. Use it for ideas and generation, but please make sure you do the content yourself. I'm not bashing AI. I love it, and I use it a lot. And it's got to be local, because there's local solutions to problems, and there's local ways of doing things that you know. For example, in Auckland, the traffic is a nightmare. Just because. It's the way the traffic lights are set up, and it's the way the roads move, and there's a whole bunch of things. In other places, the roads move quickly and people get run over, so that's not really great either. There's just different things, different ways of being, and you know what's local to you. And the problems you solve will always have a local flavor, otherwise they don't necessarily always work. What kind of, what are the rules? What are the laws? What are the ways of working? How do you work with suppliers? All these things are localized and contextualized to you and the environment in which you work. And you've got to tell those stories. Even the side of the road we drive on is different to most of the world. And that's a product of a long time ago. But that kind of thing also impacts the way you do things and the way that you explain things. And apart from all of that, right, it's you. You're the person. You're the person on the other end, because people work with people. They don't work in silos. And so bring yourself to the game. How do you dress? How do you show up? Are you early? Are you late? Do you dominate the conversation because you just can't help yourself? Are you quiet? Do you just get on with the job and you prefer someone else to be that kind of spokesperson, center of attention? What are you going to do? You know, walk quietly and carry a big stick is a motto I wish I had, but I don't. I'm quite loud. But whatever works for you is the thing you've got to bring across. And if you're working for a big organization, there's a company culture. And then there's the person who's the great salesman, salesperson, saleswoman, whatever it is. And why are they better than someone else? Same culture, same resources, same everything. The way that they work in that environment is the one that people relate to. It's their sense of humor, maybe they're gregarious, maybe they're serious. It doesn't really matter. But there's always one that's better. And there shouldn't be if everybody's the same. And guess what? We're not. So don't be the same. Tim Robbins, really outgoing, really kind of get the world into a better place and everyone's going to win. And there's only one of him. Thank goodness. Don't be him if that's the journey you're going to go on. You can love the way he works, you can love his ideas, but don't be him. Look at the tennis players. Australian Open happened last night, the final of the men's. Djokovic lost to Alcaraz. Amazing game of tennis. Two different styles, two different guys at the end and the beginning of their careers. And don't try and be Djokovic and don't try and be Alcaraz, because that's not you. And it's certainly not me, because I can't play tennis like that. You've got to bring your own flavor to the game that you're playing. And people get that. Otherwise, you come across false. It doesn't come across quite right. And it doesn't work. So your face, this thing's important. The humor, the way that you deal with things, because life is too short to be miserable. And I like to have fun. And I think my motto is, if you're going to be miserable, go and be miserable somewhere else. I like people around me that are energetic and have fun and want to co-create and do really cool things. And if that's not you, then it might not work. And if that's what you're looking for, that will work. So be the person that you are, because those relationships, those stories will work so much better when you're dealing with people like you. Okay? What is the one thing that sets you apart? Do you know what it is? Now, I've got a way of speaking and I've got a way of doing things and putting ideas together that really is me. There's no one else that does what I do the way I do it. And that's cool. And there's your way of doing things. And that's, maybe you need to practice it if you're in front of a camera, or maybe you're really natural. It doesn't matter, because you're still being you. But what is the thing about you that sets you apart, right? And it's not commitment to excellence and pride in our work and commitment to detail. That is everyone. That's not going to set you apart. Okay. The thing that sets you apart is the thing about you that isn't something you've seen in a brand slogan, because brand slogans are pretty generic. They don't mean a whole bunch. And if we went through 10 random websites and went to their mission and vision and values page, they're probably all exactly the same. And it doesn't matter what company it is. Commitment to excellence. We have a deep understanding. We value you. We see you. We're authentic and we're transparent. Okay, that's great. Everyone else's. That's not you. What is your thing? You're loud and you're annoying and you ask too many questions and you're soft and you just get it done and you just quietly do the work. Whatever it is, be that person. And it comes down to everything about you. The way you present to someone and everything that you do, the words you use, the clothes you wear, all tell someone a story, and they signal within microseconds what you are about. So remember to always show up with the person that you want people to remember, because you only get one chance of doing it the first time. Okay. And when you do that, when you put your kind of localized hat on, you talk with your language, you be the person you are, you express yourself, it places you in the context of the environment, and it makes people feel safe and secure that they can work with you, right? So remember to get in that uncanny valley. You're talking about things that relate to you and things that you do, and you're doing it in a way that talks directly to the customer that you want. How do you do that? Know who they are. Know what they stand for, and know that they should align with you. Because if they don't, then you aren't really being genuine and people will pick it up. You may have a thriving business. Do you want to have a better business? Do you want to have a better way of showing up authentically so you never have to think about it? You never have to kind of put a guard up or drop it or act differently because you're around different people? I would really, really recommend having a deep dive into what really makes you different. And you need to be relatable. So whatever that is, whatever the market is, show up, dress the right way, talk the right language, know the local conditions, be relatable, be that person that people go, yeah, I get that guy. They talk to me in a language that we understand. And I'm dealing with clients at the moment that are from very different places and they do very different things. But the one thing they all have in common is we share a sense of humor and they say, yeah, you're very much like me. We talk the same language, which means challenging, and it means let's have a look at it. And what do you really mean by that? And I want to challenge you on that. And can we go under the hood some more? And I'm not quite sure that's right. And they like that. And some people don't. Some people want the status quo. Great. Then that's for someone who's the paint by numbers. And that's perfectly fine too. So be relatable to the people that you want to work with and be quite serious about that. Because if you lose a potential customer because you don't quite gel, that road is going to be so tough if you do win that customer. Everything about that journey is going to be different. Ever had a job where you don't quite get the culture, the ethos, the person above you, the person below you, your colleague? It just makes life difficult. And we don't want difficult lives. We want to be happy and we want to be fulfilled and we want to do things that resonate. So do that every day. Resonate, show up, be yourself, be authentic, okay? Think about this as a last idea, okay? A lot of branding agencies will say, if you take your logo off your website or your stationery or whatever, would it still be recognizable as you? So I'm going to say, let's pretend that this personal brand is a logo of some kind. So it's a story about you. And the tools you use to create it, your AI work and your camera and the way you talk and all this kind of things, is that talking about you? In other words, is that all there if I took away your face or took away your voice or we did a different background or something about it was different? Would it still be you? Or would it be something that I could slot in with another voice, another person, it would be them? If I tried to be, Tony Robbins, as I said. I'm not, but I could try and be that person. It would be very, very weird, but it would also make me very generic. So yeah, it's the idea of you as a brand, taking the logo away. Would it still be recognizable as you? If someone spoke your words, would it be, I know where that came from. I know that that's come from that other person because it sounds like them. And that's what you need to do with a personal brand. So show up every time. Make sure that you're talking about you. Your personal brand is your story, your ethics, your idea of working. And get into that uncanny valley. Make sure you're talking about things that only you kind of know, or only your industry knows, or only a few people kind of get, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because that's the place where people start saying, I don't really know what you mean, because that's quite technical or over my head, but I know that you do. And that makes me feel happy. And the rest of the words you use and the way you are makes me feel like I'm at home. Because when people are at home, they trust you. And when they trust you, they'll give you their business. And when they give you their business on that level, the work is better. The relationship's better, and everything always works nicely when you do that. So show up, be yourself, find a voice that talks about you and it isn't generic, and don't put out slop. Only put out content that you think is going to add value to the world. And that means whether you're doing content for video like this, or you're putting anything into the world that talks about your business. If you're small, think about it from your personal brand. And if you're working for a bigger organization, think about you as the top salesperson, the top whatever, the top engineer, the whatever it is. And what makes you the top one and someone else not? It's just the way you are. So make sure you do that. So that's all I've got to say about the personal brand. It's all about you to take it forward. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time to chat again about another area of marketing. Hit the likes, the comments, the shares, the subscribes of the Unselling philosophy, and we'll see you again soon. I'm Clint Griffin. Have an amazing day.